Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us for our 2:30 streaming show. I'm Jamie French.
And I'm Robinson Miles. So we're going to start things off right now with a safety alert. Flu activity in the United States has reached the highest level seen in 25 years. All but 4 states are at high or very high levels of flu activity.
Yeah, a new flu strain called Subclade K is responsible for this spread. Subclade K began to spread after strains were chosen for this year's flu shots, so that means their vaccines likely only offer partial protection against it. Now, because of this high flu activity, Owensboro Health Regional Hospital officials say that they will now be implementing visitor restrictions. They posted this message to their social media. They say due to a high number of admissions for respiratory viruses, they're going to be applying certain visitor restrictions. They say anyone with a fever, cough, or sore throat should not visit anyone in the hospital. Officials also say children under 18 are at a high risk and they are discouraged from visiting. Masks are also encouraged by health officials for visitors to wear. Now, this is a story that we do have a reporter on today talking to health officials and doctors to sort of learn a little bit more. So, of course, we'll have that tonight on 14 News.
Now, for our second and final story of our stream today, we're going to go on a decidedly lighter tone. 2025 was a good year for the Mesker Park Zoo. Now, leaders say they had record-breaking attendance numbers. They welcomed 229,278 guests. Officials say it's mostly due to the launch of Wild Summer Lights. They sold 50,000 tickets to the evening light event that was held during traditionally slower late summer and early fall months.
Yeah, they're also planning on making some new events this year. But Rob, I don't know how they'll top this one because that was just the coolest event. And I feel like all ages enjoyed it. I think I loved it as much as my 3-year-old niece, so I don't know how they'll top it, but I'm glad they had a great year.
Oh, 100%. I think my favorite memory of going to that with my wife was coming across one of our reporters here and startling them to death because they did not realize I was going to suddenly pop up in front of them. I have that sort of energy. I'm terrifying.
You do. Yeah, absolutely.
They know. They're home. They know. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Of course, stick around. We got weather after this, but double back because, again, we've got reporters all over the tri-state following all kinds of different things happening now. So be sure to join us again for 14 News at 4, 5, 6, and 10.
All right. Do not go anywhere. Meteorologist Arden Gregory will be right back with your forecast.
Stay informed on your local news and weather throughout the day by watching the 14 First Alert streaming shows. At 8:30 a.m., get your First Alert forecast to plan the day ahead and catch up on the news that happened overnight with the 14 News Sunrise team. In the afternoon, get the latest headlines, forecasts, and a preview of the stories we're working on with the 14 First Alert streaming show at 2:30. And get an in-depth look at the 14 First Alert forecast so you're ready for the next big thing with the 14 First Alert weather show at 9 p.m. Watch the 14 First Alert streaming show that fits your schedule and works best for you. Streaming on your phone by downloading the 14 News app and the 14 First Alert weather app. On your smart TV by using the 14 News streaming app. And stream anytime on Facebook, YouTube, or on 14news.com. Stay connected and stay informed by watching the 14 First Alert streaming shows on your favorite streaming devices.
Good afternoon. I'm 14 First Alert meteorologist Arden Gregory, and this is a live look at the Owensboro riverfront. Nice blue skies overhead there. We did have clouds for most of the first half of the day, but then those cleared out this afternoon. And now what we're tracking is today it's breezy, but because that wind is coming from the southwest, it's also pulling warm air into the tri-state. We're running about 20 degrees warmer than normal for this time of year, and that's not just today. It's going to stay very mild through the rest of this week. However, Thursday and Friday, we've got a chance of rain and a few thunderstorms. Our severe weather risk is very low. It really looks like the risk of severe weather is probably going to stay to our south-southwest, but an isolated strong to severe storm still can't be totally ruled out. So this is something that we're watching very closely, and we have First Alert weather days in place to draw your attention to those 2 days as days to be watching as well. So let's really get into the details on these storm chances. Right now, like I said, it's mostly sunny. The clouds that were here earlier have moved off to the east toward Louisville and the I-65 corridor. It's going to stay mostly clear through the rest of this afternoon and evening. Overnight, we do see some clouds moving back in, and I think it's possible we'll also see some patchy fog late tonight into early tomorrow morning, but I doubt it'll be a widespread problem. Much like today, we may start out with some clouds and then see some clearing as the day goes on. We'll have a real mix of sun and clouds throughout the day on Wednesday. Then Thursday, it's going to start out mostly cloudy but dry, and I think we stay that way for a good chunk of the day. These rain chances really start to ramp up Thursday evening into Thursday night, and I think overnight Thursday night is where we have our best chance of possibly seeing some isolated stronger storms. This would be late Thursday night into early Friday morning. That rain then pushes off to the east, but we could see a resurgence, another round of rain coming in from the south then Friday night, with that rain lingering into Saturday. I'll talk more about why here in just a second. Check out these temperatures right now, sitting in the low to mid 60s across the tri-state. It's 63 in Fairfield, Mount Carmel, Evansville, Newburgh, Henderson, and Owensboro. Even warmer to the south, Madisonville and Greenville at 66 right now. That is about 20 degrees warmer than normal for this time of year. Our temperatures will drop back out of the 60s through the 50s and the 40s this evening, eventually bottoming out in the upper 30s by the end of the night tonight as those clouds start to roll back in. Again, I wouldn't rule out some patchy fog late tonight into early tomorrow morning, but I doubt it'll be a widespread issue. Then Wednesday, a mix of sun and clouds, not quite as warm as today, but still mild, with highs in the mid to upper 50s. Again, our normal highs for this time of year would be in the lower 40s, so we're running well above average through the whole rest of this week. Thursday and Friday, even though they're going to be mostly cloudy with a chance of rain, they're going to be even warmer, with highs climbing into the mid 60s both days. Then notice we see kind of two drops in our temperatures here. We go from the 60s to the 50s on Saturday, then into the upper 30s to around 40 on Sunday. That's because we've got these kind of back-to-back systems moving through. And then temperatures in the 40s as we start next week. But Thursday and Friday, those are the first alert weather days. So let's talk about what's driving this possible strong to severe weather. On Thursday, we're going to have a warm front swing up through the tri-state. That brings this surge of southerly air pushing us into the mid 60s on Thursday. But as a cold front comes in and clashes with that flow of warm air, it will trigger showers and possibly some thunderstorms overnight Thursday night, lingering into early Friday morning. I think overnight Thursday night into early Friday morning is our best chance of seeing thunderstorms and any kind of severe weather here in the tri-state. That cold front is going to kind of slow up then. It almost stalls out over the tri-state, so the rain may briefly move out as we go through the day on Friday. Then this secondary low starts to move in, and I think we could see a resurgence, rain moving back in then from the south overnight Friday night, possibly bringing us another round of thunderstorms. But notice most of the darker greens and yellows, that sign of thunderstorm activity, mainly staying to our south Friday night. As that low continues to lift to the northeast, I doubt we'll see thunderstorms on Saturday, but we do continue to see some lighter, more scattered rain showers into Saturday morning. And then by Saturday night, clearer but colder weather starts to take over Saturday night into Sunday. So as for our severe weather risk, it's not much. Looking at Thursday right now, the Storm Prediction Center has issued a 5% risk of severe weather, mainly to our west. This just barely clips Wayne, White, and Gallatin counties in Illinois, but it doesn't include most of the tri-state. I really think the greater risk of severe storms on Thursday is closer to the center of this here, more like southern Missouri into northern Arkansas. I think if we were going to have any severe weather on Thursday, it's more likely that would be where it would happen. Then as we get into Friday and this whole thing starts to shift farther east, Friday, that 15% risk of severe weather that we were talking about yesterday has been pulled farther south now. Initially, when they issued this yesterday, that area highlighted in yellow there came all the way up to Evansville and include most of our western Kentucky counties. Today, they've pulled that back down closer to the Kentucky-Tennessee border there and areas to our south. I really think the focus of severe weather will be more to the south, down closer to Memphis, rather than here in the tri-state. But An isolated strong to severe storm still can't be totally ruled out at this point. So that's part of why we've left these first alert weather days in. I doubt we will see, I highly doubt we'll see widespread severe weather of any kind on either of these days. But we just want to draw your attention to the fact that Thursday night into Friday, and maybe again Friday night, there is that potential where we could see a few thunderstorms. And at this point, it's a little unclear whether things will come together in a way where they could be severe. So just out of an abundance of caution, we want to go ahead and alert you to that possibility. It does look like we will have shear, which means I think we could have some gusty winds within these thunderstorms. I'm not convinced we're going to have enough instability, though, for these storms to really grow and organize into the kind of large severe storms that would potentially bring tornadoes, hail, or any kind of widespread damaging winds. I'm just not seeing that right now, but there's still a lot of uncertainty. There's been a lot of change going back and forth between each model run. So we're just keeping an eye on it, and we've got these alerts in place so that you're aware that there is that potential that we could maybe get some stronger storms Thursday night into early Friday morning, then maybe again Friday night, changing over to just rain on Saturday then before we clear things out heading into next week. Checking in on the comments here, Laura watching from Dawson Springs, always appreciate you. Zach asking about, is Evansville getting a big outbreak of severe weather? Outbreak is not a word I would use anywhere close to this. My short answer is no. I kind of doubt we'll even see severe weather. It's possible, but it's not likely that we will see severe weather. I'm certainly not expecting anything like an outbreak of severe weather. Those are rare. That's a situation where you're talking about multiple warnings, usually multiple tornadoes. That's not what we're talking about Thursday and Friday. This is a low-level risk that we'll see some rain, maybe some thunderstorms. Possibly some of those thunderstorms could become strong or severe, most likely due to an isolated damaging wind gust. So we're not talking about an outbreak here, Zach. Keela watching from Morton's Gap, thank you for watching. Tori asking, has Friday been downgraded? Yes. As I was just showing, let me back this up real quick. Whoop, too far. Back to Friday. Here we go. Friday, initially that area in yellow had been drawn all the way up to Evansville. They've pulled that back now. So it does seem like overall the severe weather risk is trending farther south and away from the tri-state, which I mentioned yesterday, that we were several days out, that could still be drawn farther north to include more of the tri-state or farther south to be pulled out of our area completely. And thankfully, that's the direction it's trending. So that risk has been pulled farther south. It no longer includes the tri-state, but it's something that we'll continue to watch very closely. If you're curious about beyond this, so we kind of, warm up and then see the rain, then we cool back down, then we just sort of moderate. Temperatures in the 40s as we start next week. The extended outlook from Wednesday, January 14th up through the 20th does show a trend toward average temperatures across the tri-state with below average precipitation. So, just the past few days, the first part of January 1st through the 4th, that's kind of what we had, kind of typical early January temperatures, and we haven't had any rain or snow of any kind yet this year. And I think that's kind of what we'll trend back to as we get into the middle part of the month. So the next few days are going to be much warmer than average. Then we've got that rain Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We cool back off then, and as we get into the middle of the month, the general trend seems to be that we'll have more typical temperatures, but not a lot in the way of precipitation. So we're not really expecting much in the way of rain or snow as we get toward the middle of the month. We'll have to wait and see what exactly we have in store, but it doesn't seem like we're in a really active pattern headed toward the middle of the month, which is interesting because we've had about half as much snow as you would typically get in the season so far. Typically by this point, by early January, we would have gotten closer to 3 or 4 inches of snow. Instead, we've had 2 inches of snow in Evansville. So we're running a little bit behind on the precipitation and specifically on the snow. And I just don't see any in the forecast coming up here. I think this will all be rain. It's going to be too warm. As those temperatures drop, if there's any moisture left Saturday night, we could maybe catch a flurry. But I don't have any accumulating snow in the forecast. And even beyond this, once we get through this scattered rain Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Moving forward, then it really looks dry for several days in a row. So I'm not really expecting that we get any snow anytime soon. That's a complaint we've been getting, that we haven't had enough snow this winter. Nothing I can do about it. I don't see any in the pipeline anytime soon. So sorry about your luck for those of you who are snow lovers and are wishing we would get more snow around here. Kyle, a good example of that. He's saying we need snow. Sorry, Kyle, I don't have any in the forecast. Laura seems to be more happy about that, who doesn't want snow. And then Aaron's asking a question about flu, but we talked about flu earlier in the show. That's news. That's not weather. I don't talk about the flu here. All right. I'm not seeing any other questions about these first alert weather days or anything else in the forecast. Again, still very mild temperatures through the next few days, all the way up till Saturday. We're talking highs in the 50s and 60s, especially Thursday and Friday. I mean, that's 20 to 25 degrees warmer than normal for this time of year. Very warm Thursday and Friday, but that warmer air is part of what is feeding that possibility that we could see some thunderstorms, maybe even some stronger ones Thursday night into Friday morning. Then maybe again Friday night, changing over to all rain then on Saturday, mainly in the morning. We start to clear things out Saturday night as colder, drier air starts to take over. And then I think as we head into next week, it's looking pretty dry. All right. I'm not seeing any other questions. So, oh, and Ruby, I did just see your comment. You're talking about it's only been winter for 3 weeks. While technically, yes, winter just started back on December 21st, when we look at seasonal snowfall, that's any snow that has fallen once we got through summer. So not snow from, January, February, March of last year, but anything that fell basically from September onward of this year. So that snow does include anything we got in November or December, even if it was before December 21st. So seasonal snowfall is really for the whole 25 to 26 fall, winter, spring snow season there. So I don't know if that answers your question or not, but when we're talking about we've had 2 inches of snow so far this season, I don't mean since December 21st. I mean since it got cold enough that we could have snow. All right. And Tina's asking about, do I think Pike County will get storms? Pike County could certainly get some rain, maybe a few rumbles of thunder. It really looks like the risk of severe weather is going to stay south of the tri-state, but there's just that isolated chance that we could maybe get a strong to severe storm. Personally, I think if it were going to happen here in the tri-state, chances would be better farther south, like in western Kentucky. But Pike County certainly should still be paying attention to the forecast over the next couple of days. You're still going to see some rain, some big temperature swings, and possibly some of those thunderstorms as well. So stay tuned for the next few days, but I don't see any kind of major severe weather risk for anyone in the tri-state, but certainly not in Pike County either. All right. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up then. Everybody have a great rest of your day.